presenting the topic CSS Grid that is presented by Debangshu and Daisyn and me, Debangshu. And hope you guys you will get some overview of CSS Grid. Okay, so let's start. Yeah, first of all, CSS Grid, we basically know that CSS Grid is really an awesome feature of CSS3 because CSS Grid layout has more things so that we can really make some layouts. So basically CSS Grid is really good for two-dimensional layout. So that was not presented before. So right now we can easily handle both the rows and columns by CSS Grid. That was not possible before in CSS. Also, previously we used floats to make our web pages, HTML, CSS web pages, so that, and we faced lots of barriers to use floats to clear the elements. But right now we don't need to use floats, and we can really easily make a web page or grid layout by CSS Grid. CSS Grid. So in CSS3 or HTML5, we need to check that is it to will it work in each browser or not. So from canice.com we can easily check that will it work in the major browsers or not. So I've taken a screenshot that here you got guys already checked that almost all major browsers are supported the CSS Grid, so we can use it in our web page. Now, basic concept of CSS Grid. So it's really a grid layout that provides the creating grid structures in CSS. You don't need to do anything else in HTML. So, and it's fixed and flexible check size. If you want to keep it as a fixed layout or rows or columns, you can do it easily using the 100 pixel or 1000 pixel if you want, and as well as you also can do it flexible by fraction unit. So we'll discuss it later on slide. And item placement. So you can easily put any block or item anywhere in the container by CSS Grid. Element control, definitely it's important for the elements in our web page, so that we can control our alignment of content. So by CSS Grid we can easily control the alignment of contents. And control of overlapping content. So overlapping control, we also can control the overlapping content by CSS Grid. CSS Grid or Flagbox. Basically, we know that, and we already worked in Flagbox and Grid. So really has some basic differences. So I think that the big differences is Flagbox is one-dimensional. So here you will see that an image. Okay, so Flagbox only works in columns or rows. But on the other hand, Grid works in columns and rows in the same team. So it's the big benefits of CSS Grid that is not possible by Flex. So that is the really big difference of both of them. And so if you guys have want to know more and has some basic differences also, you can check from the below link. So defining a grid. So basically we know that about the display block, display flex, display inline block. So same thing, we can easily check that we can easily write the display block, grid, and we can start the grid layout. Okay, so here I have taken an example, cards display grid. Display template columns 150 pixel. Okay, Okay, so I think that it will be better to check in live example. Yeah, here is this example. Okay, so yeah, I have created 6 divs. Okay, and I tried to start the display grid layout. Okay, and grid template columns, so it will really helps to make the columns. So if I do it, okay, so now you will see that it will only affect in the first column. Okay, and first column is 50 pixel and second column is 100 pixel, if I and third column is 150. So we can easily assign the column width. Okay, as well as by grid template rows, we can easily also assign the grids rows height. Like it will works in first row. Okay, so I need to remove this because we have only 2 rows. Okay, so if I hope you understand that grid template rows works in only columns, and grid template columns only works in columns, and grid template rows only works in rows. Okay. Yeah. After that, if we need to create gap, okay, so we can do it easily by grid gap. Okay, I just created 20 pixel gap between the columns and rows, so we can do it easily. So here you see that grid column gap only. So if you want to use a grid column gap, it will create the gap between the column only, and grid row gap, it will create only a gap between the rows only. So grid gap will create both uh, columns and rows as well. Here we can see that there is no any space. Okay, but here is space. Okay, here is 20 pixel space. So yeah, if I add 10 pixel, it will gap clear the gap 10 pixel. Okay, and I also just, so if I want to create in column gap, so just you'll sorry, it's not grip, it's grid. Yeah, here is only column gap. Okay, so there is no any grid gap in after the rows. So sorry, it will be grid. Yeah, so there is no gap between the columns, just in rows. Making it before. Okay, so after that, CSS grid fraction, I think. Yeah, fraction is basically a space and available space. Actually, it's a little bit confusing term, fraction. So it's the available space. If you are unable to remember it, just make it a part of an available space. Okay, so here is the example. Okay, so grid template columns, 1FR, 1FR, 1FR. FR means fraction. So 1FR means one part of available space, one part of available space of container or our web space. So here Yeah, we'll go in the live example as well. So here, these are the 1FR example, and here is also I try to show that 1FR, 1FR, 2FR. 2FR means two part of available space. Here, we will showing that 1FR, 1FR, and 2FR. 2FR means two available space. So third element taking the 2FR space. Yeah, let's check in the live example. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, 1FR, 1FR, 2FR. If we keep like 1FR as well, it will take the same space of three elements, right? So if we need to give the more space in the middle content, so we can really do it by 2FR here. Okay, so we can easily create the layouts as based on our requirements. So so like this as well. So we can make first element to available space. Yeah, here I mentioned that as in that width is with this 600 pixel. Okay, so it will, so this yeah, so this will work based on this. Okay, so if I make it uh, 800, so it will works like this. Okay, so it will take the space based on the container or web space. Yeah, CSS Grid, repeat. So repeat is really important in CSS Grid because we can really easily add the more columns or more rows. Using the repeat elements of CSS Grid. So let's check how it works. Yeah, repeat. So yeah, basically we can make this like as 1FR, so 1FR, 1FR, and 1FR. Okay, also we can make easily, like we need 3 or we need 4. Okay, we need 4 columns and space will be 1FR. Okay, so that's it. We need 2 columns, space will be the 1FR, and it's taking the same space and available space. So it's really flexible. It takes the space uh, by automatically actually. So yeah, that's it. There's the use of our repeat. So we can also use in rows like as. Okay, sorry. Sorry, there is only 2 rows. That's why it will not work here. Yeah, so here is really an confusing, but it's really and also important part of CSS Grid is the positioning items by grid line numbers. Okay, so we if we want to work with the CSS position grid line numbers, we need to know that how it works actually. So here's the 3 rows and 2 columns. So here the grid line numbers 1 here and 2 lines, 3 lines, and from here row lines 1, 2, 3, 4. So basically 1 should stay before that 2, right? and but it's showing right now above the 6 and above the 3. But how actually it's yeah. So here in live example, so basically if we want to move our content or our blog from first to last or middle, so we can do it easily by CSS grid position grid lines example. Okay, so here service block should show here, but it's showing here because I have tried to show you example as an example that it's showing in the last. Okay, so yeah, also spanning items across rows and columns. So we can, so if we want to expand our columns or rows, we can do it by a span. So how it works actually, so yeah, here we actually need to span the item 1. Okay, that child 1, yeah, grid column 1. Okay, it's the grid column 1, and we need to span the grid row 1 from 2 2. Okay, that's why span 2. So if I want to expand it in 3, so it will take space from 3, right? Yeah, so it's, and also if I need to expand the column like a span 2, so 2 columns, yeah, it will taking the space 2 columns. Okay, yeah, so like this way we can expand the space whatever we want in our web page. Yeah, CSS Grid justify items and self. So basically we know that in the Flagbox as well we used justify items and self. So justify item and justify self basically works with the row axis. So if we want to keep the items in the middle or end or start, we can do it by justify item as well. So, and also if we want to work with the individual item, so we can do it by justify self. Like a justify self here is the example that you saw that justify self first item is start, and the second item is the center, and the last item is end. So it's showing like this way. Yeah, align items and self. We also used in CSS Flagbox. Yeah, align items and align self actually works in column axis. So here I just take screenshot. I didn't work in CodePen. So align. So first item I need to keep in the start. Okay, just align self start, and the second item will show in the center, and the last item will show in the end. So it will actually works in the column axis, not in the row axis. So row axis actually works the justify item. Yeah, also almost we are almost finished. So, and here web layout experiment, actually I did it so that here if you have any interest to make the layout using the CSS Grid, you can do it easily. So I just made this layout using only CSS Grid. So if you have interest, so you can also check this. Yeah, also I took some help from this yeah, this URL. Yeah, that's it, I think. Yeah.